Hi. What are you doing in my back seat? You know, I get it. It's nice. It's velour. I mean, not everybody has it. It's recently steam cleaned. Looks great. But you don't just get to hide in my back seat. Okay? Alright. Alright, all stupid fucking jokes aside. Today we are going to be working on removing the rest of the trim and maybe the bumpers. And then I want to dive into why the door is hitting the fender. So, what do I mean by this? This piece of trim right here, that's just fucking, no, I didn't kill anybody. That's just fucking hanging off. At least pull it the rest of the way off. We're trying to decide what we're going to do. I want to delete it. Maybe just have like a dipped body line here, kind of like how this is the same color as the door. Just fill in the holes, get rid of all the glue, then just have the body line be the dent, but I don't know yet. And then I want to figure out why this is the way it is. If one of the hinges isn't out of place or what, because that was easy, but that looks kind of bad, so yeah, that's not great, but we're gonna dive into that today. So yeah, I should have noticed there's this huge rust bubble right here, so well, that's what we're figuring out today on the old Mark III. To get started, let's get ahead and get this back seat out of the trunk of the car. Alrighty, now that that's out, we have access to all of the bolts along here that hold in our trim. So we will go ahead and start getting those out. Alright, have the first piece of trim completely off. This one was already partially off when I started, so that makes it a little easier. But then if you come over here, we've got this one. I don't know how well you can see that. Pretty well. We've got that one pretty much off. I just need to hop down to the wheel well. There's a couple screws. I need to move these boxes, parts boxes. They're empty. I got the rear indicator off, so it's progress. And so we'll hop in, get those couple screws off, and we'll get this piece of trim completely off. And then really need to figure out what I'm going to do with the bumper, because this bumper, I believe at least, is completely beyond repair. So I don't know, we'll see. It just is completely destroyed, so we'll figure something out. There's a dude on Facebook selling one who's local, so we'll see how much he wants for it. If it's reasonable, I'll buy it. But yeah, let's hop into the rest of this trim piece. And now to dive into the biggest issue. One of the biggest issues with the bodywork on this car is this door fender situation, where the door, actually if I open it, hits the fender. So I took pictures. I'm gonna put them in right here, side by side, between the door line right here and the fender, and you'll see that this door is probably like a ½ an inch too low. Now, why that is, I don't know. I tried lifting it from this side, and there isn't enough change when I lift it to like move this, obviously. So I gotta look into here, the hinges, to see why this door sits like a quarter to a ½ inch lower than the passenger side door. Because I think the issue is that these the curves on the door gap, they meet up well enough that when the door is the proper height, but the angle is too aggressive here, because it's not far enough up and back, that it clips the fender. So I'm going to try and dive into that hinge real quick, and we'll see what I find. Alright, so upon looking at the pictures even further, this fender, not only is this door lower than the other door, but the fender is higher, which I believe just accentuates the issue we're having here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take the fender off, because also I want to see what's underneath it, see if there's any rust, because obviously the fender is rusted. I don't know if either this door or this fender is savable, because the door is badly buckled, but we will have to see, but we're going to jump right into it right now. I'm going to try and stop saying that, because me editing it, at least when I'm editing, I said jump into it a lot, so I'm going to try and stop saying that. Alright, so this shit is ridiculous. So, Toyota put 2 bolts way the fuck back in here that are really hard to get to from the back. Like, you had to go up through here, all the way up. Like, I had a long ass fucking extension. But then this shit is ridiculous. It's fucking spot welded together, the bumper and the fender. Like, am I never supposed to take this shit off? Like, what the fuck? I just realized the fan was on for that entire clip, so I'm sorry, but yeah, so now I gotta get the grinder out and cut off that spot weld right there, and then the fender will be free. My disc isn't fucking long enough. No. Alright, I got it off. Some trouble later, but bam! And this looks worse and worse the more I look. Oh yeah. That's great. Love that. It's the same on the other side too, but overall, there's not a lot of body rust, which is good. I was worried this was going to be a lot worse under here, but not half bad. I don't know what that is. Leave it there. But I don't know if I could just like shim the fender to make it go higher up, but I don't know how I would shim the door. Maybe shim the bottom bolt of all the door attachments or something. I don't know, I'll figure something out, but all I know is it does not sit high enough, so, but it'll be good to look into this to see if I can fix this while it's off the car so we can determine if we need to buy a new fender or not, because yeah, that's pretty bad. So okay, so we have the fender off. I'm gonna start going through trying to tap out some dents. I'm gonna try and wire wheel or flap disc this down where there's surface rust and just primer, get it down so there's no more rust, and then primer over it just so that we'll have it rust away in the future. Do that down here maybe too, clean up some of this, like this surface rust here and here, and then we'll dive into the really bad part. So let's jump right into it. Okay, so what I've done so far is I got all the big rust spots off the front of the fender, ground them down to bare metal, and then I actually popped out part of this dent back here that you can see there's a high spot still, but from where the door crunched in on the fender. But I just realized I don't have rust reforming primer, so I'm gonna run to the parts store and go grab some. Alright, as you saw there in the time lapse, I hit the driver's side fender with that paint tool. This is the damage as of right now for the driver's side fender. See, I went ahead and cleared paint all around it so I could get a general idea of how much damage there is. It's pretty bad. I mean, it's completely eaten through right there, all through here. I don't know what I'm going to do as far as bodywork repair. Maybe just lay some fiberglass Bondo over it. I don't know. If you have any suggestions, let me know in the comments below. But and then the other side, here, clean this up again as well. I'm going to spray it with some rust stopping paint before I am done for the day, just so it's not sitting open air. But I'm going to jump into the back side now. Alright, this is a little update. This is something small while the paint is drying. So this door used to sag when you open it, so you had to slam it to close it. But if you notice, watch this, ready? Perfect. So what I did is I came over here to the door jamb, and there's 2 bolts, 1, 2, 1, 2, so 4 total, and there were washers around the top bolts which were pitching the door downwards. So I just moved the washers to the bottom bolts, and now, like a glove. Like a glove. And it doesn't, you notice when I open it, it doesn't immediately sag, which is awesome. So Little progress, but paint's drying. I think I'm just gonna slab Bondo on it, call it a day, because I don't feel comfortable welding to this because the metal is so thin. So probably gonna pop. I didn't even notice how dented in that was. Right there, if you can see it. How dented in that is. I'm gonna pop that out, and then I'll probably just lay some Bondo on top, sand it down, call it a day. But for now, I gotta wait for the paint to dry. So. Welcome back to another episode of Simon Does Stuff on his messy workbench.
Over the edge, feel like I'm floating through the air. The pain I felt is paid for, all is said and done.
Alright, that first layer of Bondo is on, but because it's structural, I want to give it enough time to dry, so I'm going to wait till tomorrow before I start sanding it, just because there is that post back there that's right in the middle of our rust spot, so I'm going to give that some time to dry, and we'll pick this back up tomorrow, but for you guys it'll only be a second. Alright, I've given that plenty of time to dry. Let's sand it down, and then we'll put some more body filler on top of it.
On the web, I need to kick the habit that my mind is breathing in. Break out, I've got to see. Spent all my life holding all of it closely. I played it innocent, a feel of discontent. I'm finally facing it all, fearless. Burning the bridge that keeps us. I'm here and I'm feeling fearless. Exaggerated, that's what you assume. The story's over now, I must conclude. I am conflicted, watching where I step still, hanging in the balance. Not the life I want to live, I want to take it all. Standing tall, fear outweighed the person you are. Oh, break out, I've got to see. Spent all my life holding all of it closely. I played it innocent, a feel of discontent. I'm finally facing it all, fearless.
Guide coat primer is done. It's time to put on the next layer of Bondo, and then we'll let that dry.
Over the edge, feel like I'm floating through the air. The pain I felt is paid for, all is said and done. Oh, I am restricted, fixed.
I was always told bodywork sucked, and now I see why, but oh, fuck. For now, that's going to be all the body work I'm doing. So we've got, it's fairly smooth from here to here. It's very smooth. No rough edges. Same with here. But I need to figure out a way to get out these little pockets. I really would not. I might get some hole filler, because I really don't want to lay another whole nother layer of Bondo. I need to figure out the best way to smooth this. Well, granted, this is going to be covered by trim, but I need to figure out, it's kind of hard to see in the light. So I turn the light on the camera, so you can kind of see it. It's a little rough here, a little less rough here, but it's rough down in the middle. Need to figure out the best way to smooth that out. But as for today's bodywork goes in this video, I'm going to have to call it here, because I think I've been filming this episode over like the past month and a half since I actually pulled the fender off, so want to get it up for you guys to see. Simon from the future, I didn't record an outro, so I'm going to do it now. But thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I know it's a lot of time lapses, but bodywork's just a lot of sanding and waiting for things to dry. So, but if you enjoyed it, leave a like, remember to subscribe, and I'll see you next Friday. Peace.